Hello and welcome to this video on how we at the IAD use constructed development theory to completely rethink the NLP-based idea of the meta-model. My name is Dr. Darren Stevens and I will guide you through this short video. We offer 2 online workshops on the reimagined meta-model should you be interested in taking these ideas further. How do we construct our reality? Grinder and Bandler observe the therapeutic work of Virginia Satir and Fritz Perls and explain how people create faulty mental maps of reality, failing to test their linguistic or cognitive models against the experience of their senses. If you're familiar with Korzybski's work, you will know that this is his idea of the map is not the territory. They claimed that the meta-model yields a fuller representation of the client's model of the world, the linguistic deep structure from which the client's initial verbal expressions or surface structure were derived. The model offered challenges to the client's limits by challenging the distortions, generalizations, or deletions in their language. However, they missed out one tiny thing, and it is something of a theme for those who follow constructed development theory. Intention, awareness, choice, response. How aware is a speaker of their intention in the moment when speaking a meta-model pattern? And can they change their response based on new awareness? If they can do this on the fly, then they are indeed more capable than the average thinker. Well, doesn't this throw into doubt the whole meta-model response principle? We can look at this now. Because there is so much information available, it's impossible to take note of everything. Thus, we delete information that we pay no attention to at all, and we decide it's not important and it doesn't matter. Well, who decides? How do we decide this? Generalizing is how we create categories to classify information. We do this because it is a very economical way to help us make sense of the world. Generalizations allow us to make predictions about how the world works, and this frees up our cognitive capacity so that we can then focus on things like what is new or different in our environment. Distortion is the process of collecting and altering perceptual information so that it becomes something else, and sensory information that is available to us, and we then turn into what makes sense to us, which then fulfills our expectations or conforms to what we think we already know to be true. And this might be useful, but it can cause us problems. Once we understand our active role in constructing what we call reality, CDT also shows us that your reality is different to my reality based on our level of self-awareness. So how does this affect the meta-model principles? Okay, I know what you're thinking. We need an example. So this slide is a distortion as taught in a typical NLP classroom. The speaker claims to know the mind of the other person by telling them that they know what they are thinking. The typical meta-model response is to question the speaker to ascertain how they think they know. So what are they missing? Or were Bandler and Grinder missing when they discovered it? The thinking that created the meta-model isn't the thinking that will keep it relevant in 2024. So we have added just one major principle to the model to bring it bang up to date. Cognitive complexity, via CDT of course, and the 4 pillars. The greater your self-awareness, the more profound your initial statement, which isn't the current model. Also, the more choice you have in your capacity to choose a meta-model response. So we changed the model to include different statements and different responses based on levels of self-awareness. And it looks like this. This is just one single distortion. When someone at AQ 5 might think they know what the other person is thinking, the person at AQ 7 can't be certain. And AQ 8 knows that their construction of the other person is a delusion. At AQ 9, they simply do not want to engage in any form of external construction. So where the meta-model was originally taught to question the thinking behind the statement, you can see here that those statements are typically around the AQ 5 level of self-awareness. If Bandler and Grinder did their work today and took into account levels of complexity, they would have a very different product. This new understanding is what we offer at the IAD. If you are interested in learning more about how we can switch up the meta-model from a statement and response perspective and how the levels of development influence our thinking here, do check out the webpage and join us at our next workshop. Thank you for listening and take care.